Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I told Curtis last night, I said, I'm speaking for Warren and Jada in the morning. He said, "Oh, for real? For real? Oh my God, I'm gonna have to pop on the call." I said, "Okay." I said it's at 7:30. He said, "Oh, tell him I said hey." I said, "Oh, okay. All right." He said, "Yeah, tell him I said hey." But I appreciate you guys so much. We love you guys. We were crushed that this pandemic like stopped us from being out there, but as soon as we can, you put it on the calendar, and we are there. I'm serious. We couldn't wait. We were so upset, but you guys. I look at you guys as an example. I mean, I'll talk about you guys all the time. As a matter of fact, one of my RVPs, Shonda, just sat down with a guy from the NFL. And so, I gave her your stats and information, and she talked to him about you. He knew who you were. He's already retired, but, and it's just, he just was like, wow. And he tried the business, I think about 4 years ago. It's like somebody gave him a bad taste in his mouth, but he's willing to try it again. And he's keep getting denied because of all his injuries. People don't realize that either.
Right.
It's hard for him to get covered right now. But I'll get his name, but I'm just excited because people like you and Jada came in this business before us and give us, examples of what to do and how to do and how to build and how to lead. I'm always thankful for, I was a history teacher. So it's very important to me about who came before. I'm always grateful for that. I love the history of the business, the history of how people got to where they are. I think that's very important because at the end of the day, we can talk about skills all day, but mental toughness, what goes on in between your ears, is extremely important because that's from being even in the NFL, there's people, I always say that there's people out here right now that's better than Jordan, that's better than Kobe, but this right here kept them out the game.
Right.
So I'm very big on that. And so I appreciate those that came before me to be able to do the things that you've done to allow me to be here. So, you guys, I love you guys. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna talk about my story, guys, and how I got here. And what I like to do is through my story, I try to teach people the things that, first of all, I believe that the stories allow you to get to know that you see people today, but you get to know that, hey, I went through the same things that you go through. I just got past it. And it's extremely important to learn how to get past that. Like I said, from being a former school teacher, I believe that I could teach a dummy to do something. I could teach a dummy to answer some questions and learn a skill set. To me, that's the easy part. Okay. The hard part is how you gonna deal with adversity. How you gonna deal when things don't appear to be going your way. How you gonna deal? Are you gonna keep going, or are you gonna fold? How you gonna deal with, oh, my mom's sick in a hospital, or my partner's sick in a hospital, or how you gonna deal? What are you gonna allow to take you out? That's the thing. And sometimes you can't teach that. So you have to dig down inside and find it. So I've been here 12 years. Like he said, born and raised in Compton. I love to say that because just like he said, we hear so many negative things, but I always like to say there's good in the hood. There's a hood everywhere, just like Compton or worse, and there's good in the hood. You have a leader that was good, that came out the hood. You know what I mean? So I love to pump that up first so people will understand that. I went to college, and that wasn't easy. That wasn't easy coming from the hood. That took another kind of focus, right? With all these things around you, all these peer pressures around you to make a decision at a young age that I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I went to college. I was got a degree in criminal justice. Went back, got a degree in education, a master's degree, and so I started off teaching school. And when I started teaching school, there was a lesson that I learned there. Okay, and the lesson was, I was 23 years old. And I'm very big on what you did before Primerica actually prepared you for Primerica, and you don't really understand it. Because sometimes what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to reach back to a place. Yeah, you might not know Primerica the way you want to, but you knew something well. You may have dedicated yourself to something that got you somewhere. Sometimes you got to reach back and get that and put it in Primerica. Because you have to don't underestimate yourself is what I'm saying. You've been good at something somewhere. You did something. Go find that and bring it forward. Okay. So when I learned of some valuable lessons as a school teacher, I was 23 years old, and one thing that they did is they paired me with mentor teachers, and there were two of them. And these two, I was on my way in, they're on their way out. So these two both had been there for 30 years. Okay. So they're this is their last year teaching. This is my first year teaching. So they taught me a lot, but what the most valuable thing they taught me about life was my birthday's in May. I'm a Gemini. So, hey, Geminis. Anyway, so my birthday's in May. And so I always remember it was around my birthday. It was the end of the school year. And we're sitting in the break room. And I looked up and I saw one of my mentor teachers filling out paperwork. Well, they both were filling out paperwork. One was filling out paperwork because her and her husband had bought a lot of properties, and one was in Arizona, and they were going to, it was like some kind of lease thing. They were going to move to Arizona in retirement and live there. And so she was set in retirement. Then the other one was filling out her paperwork to return back as a sub. She hadn't even quit yet. And she hadn't even retired yet. She was about to retire, but what she knew was she didn't have enough money. So when I looked at it, I said, "Oh." So I went to the other one and I said, I've always been this way, guys. I've always looked up. I've always looked at, okay, what's my next step? How can I advance here? How is this gonna play out for me? I've always done that. Even if you're a district right now, you have to do that. You have to say, okay, I might have joined and be part-time, but what's the next step for me? Because you can go part-time all the way up to 70%. So, well, what is my next step? And then hopefully, if you haven't made a decision by then to go regional vice president, hopefully the business has gotten so good to you that by the time you're that high, you're like, oh, forget it. I'm going for it. I'm not keeping a job. I'm going for it. So you should always think ahead. Even when I play the Primerica sport, which is playing like a sport and playing like an athlete, even when I'm looking at these scoreboards, I'm looking at the numbers of, oh my God, if I was a division right now, where would I fall? I know I might have done this is a district, but if I was in a division, where would I fall? Well, if I was a regional leader, where would I fall? That's the way I play the game. So I asked her, I said, what do I need to do? What did you do that she did not do? Because it's obvious that, you both are teachers, which means your money is about the same.
Right.
Your husband worked for the state. Her husband worked for the city. The money's not that different. So obviously, it's not about the money you made. It's about what you did with it.
Right.
So I asked her, what did you do that she didn't do? Because I don't want to be like that. And she told me somebody told her when she was about my age and started off her career that if you think your job is going to have you living better in retirement than it did when you was going to the job, then you're crazy. So what you need to do is have something else on the side. That's what she told me. And I said, well, what was your something else? She said, real estate. So at that moment, and this is the thing about real estate, at that moment, I was 23 years old, guys, and I was always coachable. I said, well, how do I do that? She said, what's your credit score look like? And I said, I don't know. She said, you got to find out. She told me how to find out. If it's below this, you need to just start seeing why. Start paying this off, paying things off. I said, well, I don't really have money for that. She said, yes, you do. You get a tax return every year. I said, okay. She said, start saving your money. So she gave me some great tips. And within 2.5 years, Curtis and I bought our first apartment building. Now, the problem with this is, which is the major problem with real estate, okay, is no one's there to hold your hand. They tell you how to get started. You can do all this stuff, but nobody's there to hold your hand. Nobody's there to continue to coach you. And the reason why is because you become the competition. See, if you had a system like Primerica, where your success is contingent upon my paycheck, therefore, when you succeed, I succeed. Mm. And so there was none of that. So she gave me the tips and I got started and I did well for a while, but then I started hitting landmines. There were things that I didn't understand that we started to do. And for 8 years, we were great. We had 4 apartment buildings and, we were living life. I mean, I'm 30 years old at this point, 29 years old. And the first apartment building that I bought, now I can sell it and make a profit of $242,000. I shouldn't have sold it because today that same apartment building is worth 1.4 million. Mm. And that was 27 years ago. 23 years ago. So I shouldn't have sold it. And then I refinanced it twice. I mean, I just did all these things that I didn't understand because there was no continued coaching. Right. I'm on my own. So there's a lot of things you can do, guys. Primerica is not the only way to make money and the only way to, but let me tell you something. There's nothing like Primerica because you will find yourself on your own at some point in time. And you might have acquired the knowledge to get somewhere, but you're not going to have all the knowledge to stay there. And that's the problem with other outside things. And I've experienced it. You don't have to go experience it for it to be real. Take my experience. Take other people's experiences. That's why in Primerica, people share so much because we are trying to tell you, listen, I've done it for you already. I've made the mistakes. You go do what we're telling you to do to minimize your mistakes. And if you happen to make some along the way, fix them, get better at it. And then you share your story with somebody else and you can help somebody else. It's each one teach one. That's the way I look at it. So moving forward, fast forward to me having my daughter. I took off work a year. Didn't want to be a teacher for a while. I said, okay, I have the money. I'm good. Mm-hmm. Boy, oh boy. Because I was 29 when we sold that place and had 242,000 guys. Nobody from Primerica talked to me. I'm 29, Curtis is 31, 32, and nobody from Primerica talked to us. Maybe we didn't have the right look. Maybe, I don't know, but nobody told us about saving money. We knew we should save, but we didn't know how to save. I had 242,000 sitting in Bank of America. And in 11 months, guys, remember, 11 months, we had $30,000. And now a lot of it was spending, but we also tried. Curtis tried this business. He tried that business. Nobody talked to us. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know why you walked past me. Why you didn't stop me at the gas station? Why you didn't stop me in a grocery store? I don't know. Maybe I didn't look right to you. But I had $242,000 sitting in the bank at 29 years old because you don't know who don't know. You don't know what people have. That's right. Stop judging people. Stop walking past people. So what if I might have looked like I was shut you down? So what if I might have looked too young? So you didn't know I had $242,000 sitting in the bank. It would have saved me and you. You didn't know. You didn't know that we was looking for something to do. You didn't know. And you won't know until you open your mouth. So moving forward, at 33, 32, I had Tyler and I stopped teaching. So I taught for 10 years and I was planning on going back. But after a year off with Tyler, I learned a few things about a year off with Tyler. I learned that a lot of times we spend so much time at a job because this is the first time that I was not at a job. I always had a job as an adult. Curtis always had a business. He bought and sold cars. He's always felt like, and it's so funny because I remember getting up and going to work as a school teacher and wondering, Curtis has a high school diploma and I leave and go to work as a teacher. And 2 days out the week, he go to an auction that starts at 10. So I got to get up at 6:30 to get to LA to get to work. And at the end of the month, I'm after taxes, deductions, and all this, I got $4,500. And Curtis just made 10 grand off selling 2 cars. It I never understood it. Like, I have all this education and he has none. Why is he able to make more money than me and with more ease than I? Because of a skill set he has. He's very good with cars, very good with selling. He loves it, got a passion for it. But why is he able to do that? I never understood it. And he never understood why I held on to a job so much. Why I treasured a job. He used to tell me, Tonia, it's just a job. If I'm late one more time, they're gonna be, he was like, calm down, it's just a job. He used to always tell me that. I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. But when I was off for that year, guys, I was off for a year and I took my daughter to the park at 12:30 in the afternoon. And I took her to the park in Beverly Hills because I wanted to be around greatness. And I'm sitting there and the park was full of people. And I said, these people don't have jobs, but they don't have worries either. They don't have major worries, because once you have money, guys, your worries are minimal. And now when problems happen, they're not problems, they're inconveniences. Problems are things you got to try to figure out how to solve. I don't have to figure out how to solve when my car breaks down. I don't have to figure out how to solve when I got a flat tire out there, need a new tire. It's going to cost me $235 and I don't have it. That's not a problem I have to figure out how to solve. I have the money. Now it's just an inconvenience. You need to get to the point to where your problems is very minimal. It's not very many things. I mean, maybe some health things or, a couple life things, but there's not going to be very many things that there's not going to be very many problems. Problems is things you got to figure out how to solve. You want to get to the point to where when things happen, they're inconveniences, because money is not the forefront of what's going on. It's like, this is my time now. I ain't got time to deal with this. I got a personal assistant. Something happened, I'd be like, girl, bring me your car. I ain't got time for this. Come pick me up so I can go back home and grab another car. It's an inconvenience now, not a problem. So I'm sitting there and all this is going through my head, guys. And I'm just like, but see, this is the thing. I don't know what's happening to my thought process. I don't know that I'm being led to something greater. I don't know that. You guys are here for a reason. You're here today for a reason. I don't care if you just got in the business. I don't care if you've been in the business for 5 years. You're here for a reason. Something led you to be on this call today. Something. I didn't understand. Something led you to Primerica. Something led you, most people have seen Primerica before, some way, shape, fashion, or form. Most have. And I had seen it before. By way of someone writing me up. Now, I'm tell this story real quick. Y'all gonna trip out off of this. When I was a teacher, I had already owned 2 properties. So it had to be probably my 5th year teaching or so. I got a phone call from my friend's mother. From my friend. And she said, Tonia, my mom is in a business and she need me to have some people sit down for some presentation. And so I'm sitting down with her later on the day and she asked me, could I get some people to sit down? So I'm like, all right, no problem. That's the kind of person I am. So her mom and a woman named Maria, I'm not going to say her last name because she's still in the business, y'all, came to my house and they did a presentation. Well, no, they didn't. She analyzed me, asked me questions, sized me up to see if I needed life insurance. Didn't do a presentation. I knew it was Primerica. I knew how much insurance I was going to get. I didn't have a child at the time. So I said, okay, well, my property cost me $216,000. My other one cost me this. Give me a $400,000 life insurance policy. If I pass away, the property be paid for. Boom. She gives me a policy. A year later, I'm in the break room and people talking about life insurance. I brag about, I don't even have a child, but I'm taking care of my business. I got insurance, And everybody's talking about what company they have. I say Primerica. And everybody jumps down my throat like, oh, that's it. How long you got? 20 years? That's going to end on you. I'm like, no, it's not. They're like, yes, it is. No, it's not. I'm telling you, that's not a real policy. That policy only gonna last a certain amount of time and you're gonna pay all that money and you're not gonna have nothing. And I'm like, No, so I go to the office, and I pick up the phone and I call the 800 number. I get Primerica on the line. I asked questions, and they confirmed that I had a 20-year term policy. I said, "What does that mean?" And the woman's on the phone telling me, "Oh, in 20 years." I said, "Oh, cancel it right now." And I canceled the policy. And at that time, at that moment, I had a bad taste. Like, how dare they do this to me? How dare they give me, they didn't tell me nothing. I got no explanation. I got no nothing. So guys, I'm telling you how important it is. That's part of the reason why we get bad taste in our mouths about the business, how important it is to make people understand. I would have understood. I would have had ammunition. And I always remembered that. So I always tell my clients, listen, if you don't remember nothing else, because I always say you might be in a break room, you might be having one of them conversations with the family or whatever. I said, if you remember nothing else, you remember that you do not have to borrow from your policy because you're not overpaying for it. Understand that. They're gonna hit you with that. You make sure they understand. I don't have to borrow from, I'm not overpaying for it. My money's in the bank. My money's in a special account. I don't have to go funnel it into a policy. Make sure you remember that. And so all you have to do is arm your people with ammunition. So when people come at them, they know what to say. When you don't do that, you're leaving it open. I was one of those people. That's how I know. So back to the story. So I'm feeling some kind of way about, about wanting a life like I'm seeing. Like if I want to take my child to the park at 12:30 and just being out and about, guys, in the middle of the day. Just the small things like going to the grocery store at 10 o'clock in the morning when everything is fresh, everything is out, the store's not tore up, and nobody's in there. The little stuff. I was like, this is a whole nother world because I've been at work from the hours of, hey, I don't get to the store till 6 p.m. I've been trapped. You don't realize how much of your life you are giving to a job from these hours to these hours, day in, day out, Monday through Friday. You don't even see what it looks when it gets dark at 5 o'clock. You don't even see what it looks like outside. Don't have one of those homes where you can't afford to live real close to the city, so you want to buy a beautiful home. So now you got to drive 45 minutes to an hour away to get to your house after work. You damn near don't even see what the house looks like in the daytime to the weekend. So, I mean, it's the little things that you realize that life is passing you by. And by the time you retire from a job and you be able to enjoy the little things, you're 65 years old. How much time you got left? So I start feeling different about things, and I don't know why. I don't know why God is preparing me to receive something later on, right? So now I go back to work, but I don't go back as a school teacher. I go back as a probation officer. I said, I don't want to go back. Let me go ahead and go to probation. They hiring. I got my degree in probation. My friends work there. Let me go on back probation. So I go, and it was going to be a decrease in pay for about a year, for about 2 years, year and a half. And then it was going to be a bump in pay after I go to DPO too. Well, I get there. I like the fact that I work 3 days on and 4 days off because I'm 4 straight days off, but I didn't like not being around my daughter for 3 days. And I didn't really like who I had to become when I go to work. I'm in there with monsters, the worst kids in the United States. And I'm in jail with them. And that's why I got to stay there for 3 days and respond to, things that go on. And so I had to become a monster. My Compton kicked in. I had no choice. I can't speak to somebody and tell them, you know what, can you guys please pick that up? They looking at me as weak. They talking about me like a dog. I got to talk to them the way they know how to move, right? But that wears on you. You come home hostile. You got a whole day that you got to bring it down. I'm coming home to a 2 and 3 year old. She's doing 2 and 3 year old stuff. Why am I fussing at her? Why am I yelling at her for doing 2 and 3 year old stuff? And I have to, it's not. And you think about how people have to do these kind of jobs for years. I said, this can't be me. I can't do that. So now real estate is taking a toll because now we are at 2007. and the market is tanking. We found ourselves in a position to where we had four properties and four apartment buildings and a house. We lost three and we short sold two. So we ended up with $30,000 to split between the two of us, a strained relationship after 15 years with a 2-year-old child. And we ended up having to go our separate ways. It just wasn't working. We just had to be parents. We were broke and losing everything. And one particular day, I just, I'm very optimistic, right? So I always think that, okay, this is not going to last. It's not going to last. And I've always seen light at the end of the tunnel. I've always found a way to condition myself. This is prior to Primerica. My father taught me a lot of valuable lessons because if you guys may be familiar with a man named Reverend Ike from back in the day, if you go to YouTube and pull up Reverend Ike right now, you're going to see old clips of Reverend Ike. He was way before his time. Reverends and churches didn't speak like they do today. He's sounding just like T.D. Jakes. He said today about the mind and what you can attract. And oh no, he was way before his time and people used to call him crazy, right? But my father worked for him. And my father gave him some powerful books. He gave him Think and Grow Rich to read. He gave him Key to Yourself to read. And my father read those books and he taught me things starting at about 9 years old about manifestation. Reverend Ike talked about all the things that the book The Secret talked about in the video, The Secret, a movie. And so I used to go like meditate before tests so I could get it passed. And when I struggled with getting my securities licenses, my father was so mad at me. He wasn't mad because I kept failing the test. He was mad because I wasn't utilizing the gifts that he taught me how to use. He was mad because I wasn't just blocking everything out and seeing myself pass it and just putting forth he was so upset with me that I've taught you how to do this. So I always had an optimistic outlook on everything. Stuff is not going to always stay bad. It's going to always get better. But I was in a serious rut to where, listen, I owed the IRS $26,000 in back taxes. My FICO score had just gone from a 685 down to 425. I was over 2.2 million in debt. They were taking everything from me. And my relationship was strained. We were arguing. It was bad. So here I am, like, find myself, usually if I cry over something, I'm going to cry for about 5 good minutes, and then I'm going to suck it up and go on to the solution because we can't keep dwelling on the problem. But this particular day, it was bad. And so I'm praying to God, like, what am I going to do? Show me something. I don't understand why this is happening to me. I mean, I tithe, I give back. I was doing community service. I'm in a sorority. So I was stay tied to that. I mean, all these things that I just couldn't understand. You start questioning God and you're not supposed to, but we've all been at a point to where we might do that. And then I just literally was laying down. I woke up and said, I'm about to go to Target. And I grabbed my daughter and I go to Target around the corner from my house. I don't really have no money, guys. I don't even know why. I mean, I got a little money left on my Target card, hopefully to go through. I mean, just take it all. I'm broke anyway. Retail therapy is the best therapy, ladies. That's make you feel good, right? Just sliding the art of sliding the card just does something to your soul, right? Slide the card and get a bag. That just make you feel good. So I go to Target with my daughter and I'm walking around Target. Just walking around. And that's back when Target had cute clothes. Now they clothes look like, I don't know, Mary Poppins or something. But I was buying like a little shirt, little dress. So I go check out and I'm walking to my car. I'm putting my daughter in the car. And this guy walks up. And he says, excuse me, do you keep your options open when it comes to making and saving money? And I looked, I said, yeah. And he said, okay, my name's Herman. I have a business in the area. My wife and I are always looking for, sharp people. And can I ask you, what do you do? And so we went through that, and I went ahead and gave him my number. But let me tell you what was really important about this lesson right here. I know many of you would love to recruit a Tonia Poe. Okay. But you're going to think that, oh, you have to be this, or you have to be that, or you have to be that. No. Herman Rojas was a district. Herman Rojas had barely been in the business a year. But there were some things about Herman Rojas you need to understand. Okay. Herman and his wife had been arguing that day because they had gone out to do an appointment that was far out, because they were at a desperate state, because they had stopped doing the things that got them to where they were. They had stopped being consistent. They had stopped, constantly getting the numbers, or what they were doing to get them where they were. They had stopped. And the frustration was kicking in. His wife told him that day, right before he went to Target, listen, get off this freeway and let's go get a number, because we was getting numbers and we was on it every single day. And that's the difference between what is happening with us now and what was happening with us then. So we got to go back to doing what got us where we are. And so they argued, and he went ahead and got off the freeway. And it's just so funny. I always say it was God ordained, because there was a Walmart up the street. He could have went to Walmart. Why did she say it at this exit? They had a long way to go. There was another Target about 7 more exits up. Why was it at this moment, at this Target? And it was me. And he goes to get a number, and they pull up, and he says, when you're a prospector. Now, I'm not a prospector. Do I prospect? I'll prospect, but not a prospector. I usually build my business based off of referrals. But when I see somebody with a great personality, I'll do it. But he was a prospector, like day in, day out. I'm gonna get my numbers. He loved to talk to strangers, right? So he had, you have this thing made up in your head. And I actually changed that for him. You were looking for somebody with a ring on their finger. I wasn't married. I didn't have a ring on. You're looking for somebody that's dressed sharp. That's, okay. No, I had on a juicy sweatsuit. And I think the top was not even matching the bottom. I had some big glasses on because I had been crying. My eyes was puffy, and it was getting about to be like dusk dark. And I still had them on like a drug addict wearing glasses. You know what I mean? I had a hat on. It was just not, I was not the pick if you're going to be trying to look for that person that looks like they might give you a number or somebody that you want. I wasn't it. But the reason why he asked me was because his wife said, he said when he went to get the car, he said, it's 7:30 on a Saturday night. People are out with their family. This is not the prospecting time. She said, I don't care. I'll get a number. I'm not letting you back in the car until you do. So he went in and he went to look for people. And he came back. Nobody's in there. She said, there's cars in this parking lot. I'm not letting you in. So he had gone back twice. I was the third time. And so he came and he just was out of frustration so he can hurry up and get a number and get in the car. He didn't care what I looked like. And it was the best thing that ever happened to him. He went RVP because he recruited me. He went out number 1 in the country as a senior regional leader when I was under him as a regional leader. My team was doing 55,000 as a regional leader. And he, as a regional leader, when I was under him, and he was a senior regional leader, and his team did another 25. He went out in the 78,000. Number 1, because of me. This was number 1 division in the company because of me. His money went up because of me. He recruited me and he trained me. He was very good. He didn't retain me though. See, he wasn't afraid to solicit the help of his upline. So you can't be afraid to do that either. Your upline knows more than you. You have to be willing to admit when you've recruited someone that's kind of over your head or out your league. You got to be willing to admit that. And so Neil had to do a lot of help with me because I was out his league, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When I mean out his league, it don't have nothing to do with education. That's not what I'm talking about. And he has a high school diploma and I have a master's degree. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I was more advanced mentally than him as far as, the asking of the questions. And okay, so how does this work? How's that work? I was more boisterous than him. I was more aggressive, and I had to learn to be assertive. And so he didn't take that as a negative. He took it as a positive. And some of you guys will take it as a negative. You'll say, oh, they're too, oh, she's too bossy. She asks too many questions. Oh, she's too, but see, these people gonna make you better. These people gonna make you the money. So you gotta understand that's the kind of person you want. Just because they're making you uncomfortable, maybe you got to get better. And maybe you got to admit that you got to get better. And maybe it's okay to let your upline know, hey, she a firecracker, but how do I handle her? What do I do? What do I say? You got to be willing to say that so you can get better, because you won't want 10 of me's. So you want 10 of me, but you don't want to humble yourself enough to learn how to handle me though. You'll lose me trying to wing it yourself. You'll turn me completely off, and you will lose me. And some of you probably have already, because you're not admitting that I need help. I don't have it all figured out. I want to be like you. I want to be as good as you, Warren. I want to be as good as you. I want to be. Teach me. She's right here. If you got to jump in and do X, Y, and Z, it's okay. Your upline don't want to take nobody from you. Your upline wants you to keep them so you can go ahead and go RVP. I don't listen. The point I am in my career, I don't want to be responsible for having to train this person from scratch. And I would much rather coach you on how to do it. I don't want your person. You think I'm trying to do that? For 3.5 years, okay? I put my head down. And folk, I'm talking 5 KTs a day. I don't want to have to do that. I did that so I can get to the point to where I don't have to do that. I worked in my business in that way for a long time. No questions asked. Grit, in, out, no questions asked. Doing the work for 3.5 years, head down. I did that working in the business so I can in return now work on my business. So no, I don't want your person like that. I want you to call me and let's spend the time with me coaching you. Say this, say that. This is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. Here, just do this, do that. That's what I want, because I know how to do it. I got to make sure you know how to do it. That's where I'm at. So Herman got me. Neil retained me. He trained me. Oh, Herman trained me. He was so good. Listen, y'all. Master the presentation. Master it. Master it. Master it. You know, one thing I learned from being from the hierarchy I'm from, Hector Lamarck always said, and I do know that he and Art Williams used to bump heads about this back in the day. But we're not salesmen, but we sell. And I am from a selling hierarchy. Hector Lamarck, Mike Sharp. Mike Sharp had the record of getting to 1 million the fastest until Mika just broke it. Literally. A Black woman just broke that record. 6 years. I think he was 6 years, 6 months. She's 6 years, 5 months. They thought Miguel had it when he first went, and they was like, oh, 7 years. But then they like, oh, wait, no, Mike got it. Yeah, because Mika knew that. Mika said, Mike got it. But it's okay, because I'm about to get it. They don't have to worry about Mike. I'm about to get it. Yeah. So she got it done a month before Mike's record. So she is the fastest in Primerica history. So I come from that. And then Hector, Rick Susie, the Youngers, Gerfine. And we were not salesmen, but we sell. And you must learn how to do that. You must learn how to close, or you'll never make any money. Bottom line, you have to become a closer. So you want to, what I mean by that, a closer is someone, if I line up, see, you can't measure your close against, how many I've closed, because most people are going on the wrong kind of appointments. They weren't going to close anyway, because you didn't follow the rubric on what kind you're supposed to sit down with. So you have to say, out of 10 qualified appointments, 10 qualified appointments that you should sit down with. A closer can close at least 7 of them, maybe 6 or 7. You don't have to be 100%. You know, just like a baseball player only needs to bat what 300%. That's 3 out of 10, right. And they're paid millions. Okay, so if you can get out of 6 qualified, out of 10 qualified, if you can do 6, you're a closer. That's not hard to learn how to do. And then you teach it. I like what Warren said. He said, you come to learn, you leave to teach. Oh, I'm still in that. Oh, stolen. Done. I'll give you credit for it. Done. But you have to, because I always say each one teach one. First, I am going to learn how to do this. And then you learn how to do it once, but you teach it forever. You learn, you suck it up and you learn how to do it once, but you constantly teach it so you can recreate. That's what I learned. I was like, okay. So going into the business, I'm going in with the mindset, guys, of I want to only make extra money. Now, remember what I told you. I didn't like my job. Remember that? I want you to understand most people that come here, they do not want to go full time yet. They don't, because we're not conditioned to have businesses. We're conditioned to get a paycheck. So it's a scary feeling to know that I don't care how much they don't like their job. Understand this. They don't like their job, but they like the security of a job. So you have to, sometimes you'll turn people off talking to them too fast about quitting their job or leaving their job, but nobody wants to keep hearing that. So you have to change your verbiage so you don't chase people off. They need to feel that we want you to be part-time. We don't want you to quit your job. Mm-hmm. I say, I want you part-time. You know why? But I want you to be a damn good part-timer, like I was. I was dedicated. I treated it like a part-time job for real. I had a schedule. I had to do this, I had to do that. I can't just wing it. Well, I don't want your spare time. I want your part-time, not spare time. There's a difference. So be a dedicated part-timer. Know that the days that you're going to be seeking KTs on these days, because these are the days that I've dedicated to doing Primerica. Do you have at least 3 days a week that you can say, I'm going to have KTs on these 3 days every single week? 2 a day would be great. You can have 6 a week. That'd be great. But if you can do that. And so I have the conversation with, I take the pressure off. Oh yeah. When you hear us talking about full time, that's for those that are sitting in the audience that have already made up their mind. There's no pressure. So we have that conversation because that was me. That was me. But I know I'm mental tough. Do you know how many times I sat in a meeting and I said, I do not want to keep hearing about quitting my job. I'm not quitting my job. But yeah. So I'm not quitting my job. They're crazy. But I kept coming. And my goal was to make $1,200 to $1,500 a month. And that's because I had a second job that I did want to quit, that I'm going to quit. As soon as that second job paid me about $1,500 a month, $1,600 a month. But I could take as low as 12 and get rid of that job. And so that was in my mind. It's all I needed to do. And guess what? Because that's all I needed to do, that's all I did. I learned that too. Because that's all I needed to do, that's all I did. I did it. The first month I made $800. I was like, okay. Second month I made $1,100. Okay. Third month I made 12. And by the middle of the fourth month, I quit my second job. And I maintained that $1,200. Okay. So, and this thinking went on for 7 months. And that was all I did until one particular month when I allowed myself to expand my thinking. This was the beginning of the end, guys. And when I say the beginning of the end, I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean, this was the beginning of the end of me having a job. And now I'm starting a new chapter. Okay. I was 7 months licensed, still part-time. I had just, hadn't gone district yet. I ended up going district in this month. I was 35% doing this. And Neil Garfine had a contest. And let me just say this about contests. You know, I just recently put out a contest that I'm going to take. We're trying to get to this million. And I'm going to take everybody that averages 3 directs and 8,000 in premium. 3 directs, 8,000 in premium. 2 codes, and I got a level of income too. I'm taking everybody to Cabo, and it's a 5-month contest. And of course, you know, we got these, I call them Zoom babies, Warren. They don't know nothing about a meeting. They don't know nothing. All they know is Zoom. They don't know nothing about going to the house and stuff. These Zoom babies, these new ones, right? They don't know you. They don't understand being around you and y'all having fun and just that camaraderie, right? They missing it. I got a couple of them because my old heads is like, you know, they train some people, they got them in the business. I got a couple of them that's like, Cabo, I've been to Cabo 3 times. Cabo, I mean, that's gonna be cool, but I mean, they don't get it. They don't get it, right? So you ain't been with me and Curtis though, you know what I mean? And whoever else, you know, we got friends all over primary, but hey, we going to Cabo, y'all. Y'all want to come? Y'all want to come? And look, I'll pay for it. Y'all come on out so we can have a good time. You know what I mean? They don't know. They don't know. Anyway, so, but let me tell you about contests. Contest is made for winners. I was to the point with contests that I said, I don't give a damn if they going to McDonald's and stand in the parking lot drive-through to have a burger. If that's where the winners are, that's where I'm going. I'm not gonna be in the crowd listening to people talk about what they did when they won the contest. That ain't me. You gonna be listening to me because I'm a winner. I don't care what the prize is. That's where the winners were. So I heard kneel through a contest, and it was to have dinner with $2 million earners, the youngers. And I was like, oh no, I don't know anybody makes 2 million legally. So I'm gonna go ahead and win this contest. And so I just, in my spirit, guys, I said, they're not going without me. Now, mind you, where was I at the time? I had never written more than 4,800 in premium. And I had never recruited more than one person myself direct in a month. And you had to do 5 direct recruits and 8,000 in premium. And I was like, oh my God, I wasn't too much worried about the premium because what I did all the time, and I advise you guys to do this. I know we're in the era of electronics, but there's nothing like paper. I had a calendar, which I still have one today. Where my calendar at? It's on the other side over there. Oh, here we go. All right, I had a calendar. And my calendar was set up like this, right? And at I had each appointment, this is a brand new calendar. I just got it. Each appointment, each everything sitting in here. So all I had to do was go back to the months when I first started writing, when I went from writing 3,000 to writing 48, and I had to look and see, okay, Tonia, what did you do? See, when you got it on paper, you could do that. You can go back to that month that you did this. And because when you write down your KT that you have, I used to go back and write that I closed. Did I close or not? And if I closed, what did I close for? So I had the data. So I wasn't worried about writing the 8 because I said, okay, I just got to double up on what I did. How many did I have to do 48? I just got to double up. You got to have more time. It's a numbers game. So I wasn't worried about that. But those recruits, I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get these 5 directs? Let me tell you how confession leads to obsession, and what you obsess over grows. I woke up thinking about those 5 recruits. I went to bed thinking about those 5 recruits. All through the day, every 5 minutes of the day, I'm thinking about these 5 recruits. I got to get them. Because I was so worried about not being able to get them. I got the 5 direct recruits in the first 6 days of the month. Done. Now I was at about 1,700 in premium. No, 1,600 in premium. But let's go. And I focused. And I ended up, there's a story behind that, but I'm not going to go with how I came through the last day. But I ended up winning. And I was so excited. And I did 5 direct recruits and 8,800 in premium. Listen, what you obsess over grows. All you have to do is make up your mind, make a decision that I am not going to lose. That is a decision. Look, ask Warren, how do you win a championship? How do you win games? You know how you win games? Everybody got on the same page and everybody made a decision individually that I'm not going to lose.
That's right.
That's contagious. Because if I'm saying it and that teammate saying it and that teammate saying it, that teammate saying it, it's an energy and a synergy that's like you walk out of there like, I don't know what they doing over there, but what we doing over here is winning. And ain't nobody gonna take that from me today. And you gotta have that. Why do you think the Patriots win so many games? Why do you think they win so many games? Why do you think they win so many? Why do you think they win so many championships? Why do they win so much? Because somebody is teaching them how to think. Somebody's teaching them how to think beyond the skill. Shit, they all got skill. Everybody got skill. They all got skill. But do you have the mental capacity to go with the skill? So I win. And here comes the beginning of the end of me having a job. I win the contest. So that was March that I won the contest of 09. I have not been here a year yet. I got licensed in August of 08. I was able to make $1 profit August of 08. I go to the dinner in April. So the contest was in March. Two weeks later, we got the dinner. It's the 12th of April. We're going to the dinner. I get to the dinner. Of course, Neil sits me next to Sue Younger. And he had told her some things about me, you know. And so I went, another nugget. Let me tell you something. When you win a contest, yes, there might be some wine there. Have your glass of wine, okay? You might see your leaders, you know, having some real drinks, some hard drinks, and having a good time. It's not, you're not there to have a good time. Eat your meal, drink your little wine, and calm your ass down. You're not there to be turned up with them. You don't do that to yourself, because trust me when I tell you, your leaders is looking at you like, okay, they don't get it, but it's fine. I'm telling you, because that's not your time. You're not on their level. Ain't nobody gonna tell you that. But you know, they're not gonna tell your leader's not gonna tell you sit down somewhere. They're not gonna tell you that. It's gonna look at you like you're crazy. So I'm telling you, that's not for you to turn up, and that's not what that's for. Listen, I went with my notebook, my little notepad. I am trying to extract all the information I can so I can one day be there with you, but I'm not there right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my little Chardonnay, take my little sip, take my little cup down, and call it a day. So I'm sitting there, I'm listening, I'm taking notes all night. Everybody asking questions, I'm asking questions, and it's awesome. And then all of a sudden, we get to the end of the night, and Sue Younger turns to me and says, "So, where you at?" And I said, "Where am I at?" She said, "Yeah, where you at for this month? Where you at?" I said, "No." I said, "Oh, I'm at 11." She says, "You at 11,000 in premium on the 12th of the month? Oh my God!" Neil Gerfine told me that you were becoming a person to watch. Like he saw something in you. I said, "Oh no. I'm at 1100." She said, "Oh, well, I'm confused." And I said, "Well, what are you confused about?" In my mind, I'm like, what the hell are you confused about? But I wasn't gonna let that show. I'm like, "What are you confused about?" She said, "I'm confused because Neil told me you have a daughter." I said, "I do. Because you're a single mom." I said, "I am." She said, "Oh, well, I'm just trying to figure out why you would work harder to come see me and you don't even know me than to feed your child." That was the ultimate slap in the face. And who am I be mad at? Not her. I be mad at me. Because I put myself in a position for her to say that to me. I'm like, you absolutely right. I had a 45-minute drive home, y'all. Have you ever been in a position where you don't want to hear nothing? I didn't have a radio on. I didn't want to hear a motivation CD. I don't want to hear nothing. I drove home 45 minutes, and all I kept hearing was her voice in my head. By the time I got home, I was so irritated. Like, she's going to know who I am. I made a decision that was a defining moment for me. I made a decision that night. I didn't even know I made a decision. I made a decision that night not to leave my job. I made a decision that I was going to write more than 8,800 in premium every single month until something got built. That's the decision I made that night. I will show her that I will always write more to feed my child than I did to come see you. So it was the 13th. The next day I woke up, it was the 13th, and I'm at 1,100. And I finished that month at 9,100 in premium. The next month, now you had, that was month 7, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 5 more months to get me to a year. I did 91. I'm trying to do 10 grand this whole time. I did 91. I did like 94. I did 89. Barely got over to 88. I did another 9,000 something and another 9,000 something. Couldn't get to 10. But for those 5 months, let me tell you what happened to me. Because I wasn't focused on the money. I wasn't focused on making that 1,200 I always wanted to make, which kept me down, by the way. I focused on something greater than that. And in focusing on something greater than that, I focused on achievement. I focused on trying to write 10 grand, but always making sure I did more than that damn 88, because I had something to prove. And I noticed she wasn't paying no attention to no Tonia Poe. Then you don't know who I am. And you probably see us a dime a dozen having these dinners and people talking this good stuff. And then that's why I didn't talk. I didn't say, you're going to see me. My name's going to be in lights. And I didn't do none of that. I just left there and said, let me just go do the work. I don't need to do all this talking. So where I'm from, you don't talk and get you beat up. We don't do all that talking. Just go do it. I'm just saying, I look around, miss me with all that talking. The woman used to say, run up or shut up. Nobody saying all that talking. So I'm from a different era, Warren know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that these days, they just get a gun. They just don't even know how to fight. It's just crazy. Anyway, so what I did was I made money that I never made before. I said, oh, wait a minute. Did I just make almost $3,000? I'm on a 50% contract now. I'm writing 9,000 in premium. Did I just make $3,000? I couldn't believe it. Now, mind you, I'm making $60,000 a year. Remember, I told you that I took a decrease, but after 2 years, I was going to take a increase. Well, it was time for me to take that test to become a DPO2 and get the big increase. I never took it. I quit instead. I never took it. So here I am after deductions, taxes, my retirement coming out of my check, making 60 grand a year. I'm bringing home $4,100. But here I am in Primerica part-time making $3,000. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. At that moment, what it did, the money I was making, I started paying down my bills. So instead of me needing $3,300 a month to come in my house to make my house go round, I only needed $2,200, $2,100. And so then all I did is I said, when's the last time you only made $2,100 in Primerica, Tonia? Oh, 5 months ago. Oh, I'm not gonna quit on myself. I'm gonna go ahead and quit this job. And I quit. And that was the beginning of the end. And when I quit that job, that month, August of 2009, I had been licensed 1 year. I quit that job, guys, and that's the first month I wrote $10,000 in personal premium. I did $13,000 that month. That's the first time I went over 10. And from that point on, I made a decision. I said, okay, I'm not going to be a one-hitter quitter, because back then in 2008, it was kind of said, oh, don't focus on single women in the business because they come for 2 reasons. Well, 2 things will happen. They come in to get a husband. And when they get the husband, they're going to quit. Or they was the ones that built it. They were the ones that was really good at it. And they found the husband, married the husband, and now they want to swap the code and make him the leader because of ego. And he's not as good as her. But she's the one built it. But this is what was happening in Primerica. So this was the norm. It was like, beware of those single women They not gonna really stick. They not gonna be what you think. And I was determined to change that. I said, yeah, but they didn't get a single one from Compton. They didn't get one like they didn't get one like me. And not to mention, you know, when me and Curtis got our thing back together, Curtis has always been, he's never been an insecure man. He's always been a kind of like, yes, do you. I want you to shine. I want you to lead. And I pray, I thank God for that. Because a lot of men, they can't handle that. And so that's what ends up happening is to keep peace in their house. They flip that code and then he be the leader, but you wasn't the leader. This was her thing. And so this is what I couldn't be mad if that was the thing going on because that was what was shown. All I had to do was say, all right, I'm gonna show you something else. And that's what I did. And women that come in here today don't even know that that was a thing 12 years ago. They don't even know that. They don't even know that was a thing that you wouldn't have been looked at as. And I was determined, like Warren said, I was determined. I said, I don't want to be the best woman in Primerica. I want to be the best person in Primerica. I was number one in the country as a division. I never was district. I went division too fast. I was number 3 in California. No, number 3 in the country. No, number 3 in California, number 5 in the country, district. And I still had a job. Okay? Doing 22,000 as a district, me and 2 codes. And I had a job. Okay? But division, I was number 1 in the country. I got my watch at division, guys. My Primerica watch at division, Power Builder watch. As regional leader, I was number 1 in the country. I was regional for about a year and a half. I was regional. I was number 1 most of that time. Angie beat me a few times. And I still remember the name. Team Ramona Stallion in Arizona beat me 2 months. And Angie beat me like 4 months. And the rest of the months was all mine. And they barely beat me, damn it. They didn't just slaughter me, okay? I'm just saying, it matters. But I was number 1 in the country. And then when I went RVP, it took me 2 years to be number 1 in the country again. I was number 1 in the country several times as a regional vice president. And end of the year, 2 years in a row, I was number 1. This is when Mario Arizona was getting it together. I was spanking him. He just shot up and left me. But it was me and him. I finished number 1 at the end of the year to date. I was number 1 2 years in a row, and he was number 2 2 years in a row. By that 3rd year, he spanked me. But, you know, I give it up. But my point is this. I wanted it to be, if you want to fight in this top 10, even today, if you fighting to be in the top 10 and fighting to be number 1, I'm somebody you got to worry about. That's what I wanted. I'm somebody you got to worry about. You know, when you go to when you're in the NFL, you know, you want to go to the Super Bowl. Who you gonna worry about? What teams you gonna worry about? I want to be one of them. You know, them Patriots. You got to get past the Patriots. That's what you do know, okay? You got to get past the Patriots. I want to be one of them. One of them teams that they be like, oh, you got to get past them. Yeah, that's all I wanted. Not the woman in Primerica. No. Do you know my biggest confirmation was the very first person that put me on a plane and asked me to speak for them at their event was none other than Bill Whittle. At that moment, I said, oh, what? At that moment, what I did know is I was respected as a person, as a business person, and not a businesswoman. Don't never look at me. I mean, yeah, I'm in Women in Primerica. I want to uplift women. I want women to understand that, all of that. That's great. But I don't want you to limit yourself to being the best woman in the company. I want you to understand to be the best person in the company.
That's right.
That's where I'm at with it, and I've always been that way. And so I made it my business just to show women, you know, that listen, I built this business technically without a partner. Curtis is my mental support. Curtis doesn't do Primerica, but Curtis is all about Primerica. And I built this business, literally. It brought he and I back together because I changed, he changed. It was just so much. But it was tough. It was tough. I was alone. I was, you know, not seeing my child the way I wanted to. He He stepped right in. I'll pick her up. I'll do this. I'll do that. He never criticized me for missing some things. He said, that's what she got two parents for. Don't worry about it. He kept my mental right so that I wouldn't have those worries of, are they saying I'm a bad mom? As long as he never said I was a bad mom, as long as my parents never said I was a bad mom, I was okay. I mean, I had to get into it with my daddy a couple times, but to make him understand, but I was okay. And guess what? If that's not your scenario, you still gonna be okay. Cause that was my scenario. But let me tell you this: the way I'm built, even if that was the scenario, I was still gonna be okay because now I got a bigger reason to prove everybody wrong. Everybody wrong. You got to figure out what your why is and go for it. Literally my why was my child, and when she told me that and she struck that chord, my God, it lit a fire in me. You know why? Because people will say, I'll do anything for my child. No, you won't. You're a damn lie. You won't even take these notes for your child. No, you won't. No, you won't. No, you won't. You won't even get better for your child. What do you mean? No, you won't. Stop saying I'll do anything for my child. No, you won't. No, you won't. Because you're not doing it right now. You're not doing it right now. I had one of my RVPs told me 3 years ago, and she's been with me for a long time. She's a $100,000 earner. She told me 3 years ago, Tonia, my daughter's in high school. Before I know it, before I blink, she'll be a senior. I want so much for her in high school. I've got to get this thing on. I've got to. Okay. And I'm on her and I'm helping her, and it looked like it's happening. She went ahead and got the $100,000 ring, got her income up to about 150, and just started letting up again. Her daughter just started her senior year right now. Things are not the way she wants them to be. But yet we say we do anything for our kids. Why'd you let up? You were on your way. A year and a half ago, I saw her let up. See, so you got to think about things like that. You said, the things you say, your words have meaning. At least they should. And so you have to think about, like, I want so much. We want so much for our children, so much opportunity for it. Not about material things, it's opportunities and things that you can do and provide. My daughter said she wants to go to a HBCU. She's in the 9th grade right now. And somebody said to me, okay, well, we got a bunch of tours that they take the HBCU tours, and you could take them with this and that. I said, because I don't want her looking at all these schools that I don't want her to go to. I don't want her looking at all the certain areas I don't want her in. I don't even want her to be enticed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Howard. I'm going to call Spelman. I'm going to call Hampton. And I'm going to call the higher level HBCUs that I like and that I don't mind her being. I'm going to call Morgan State. And I'm calling the areas where I got people in the area that I could be like, hey, can y'all get over there and get her till I get there? I can call Warren and be like, can you get over to Morgan State and get Tyler till I get there? You see what I'm saying? So it's only certain places that I want her. So why am I going to take her to go sit through all this other stuff? I don't want you over there with them folks. They don't even do nothing over there. So I said, I'm going to call each school and I'm going to set up my own private tour for each school. And so I was talking to the lady. She said, now that's going to be very expensive. I said, I know. I got it. Not flexing or flossing, but I'm like, I know it's going to be very expensive. I know. I got it. Because that's what I want. So that's what I went to work for. That's what I was stuck on the 10 freeway one day for 7 hours because of that oil spill. And I missed all my KTs, and I'm in the car and I'm crying like crazy. And I can't believe that this is happening to me. I'm standing outside my car talking to people on the freeway. Freeway shut down for 7 hours. I missed all 4 of my KTs that day. I could not believe it. And I'm crying and I'm crying and I'm crying. I called Curtis. I called Neil. I called everybody. And they're like, Tonia, one day you're going to just say that this was all worth it. And it's going to be a memory to you. And you're going to laugh about it. I always think back to that. Like, I just felt like, and I was in chargeback hell. I needed those KTs. I was like literally in $2,000 of chargebacks. I needed those KTs. And God just played a joke on me that day and was like, ain't happening today. And you stuck. 7 hours. Because it was a oil spill on the freeway. Stuck. So it was worth it. That's what I did it for. So you got to find your why, guys. You got to find your why. This thing is so, I mean, it's so powerful. It's so big. It's so, right now, there's an explosion going on right now. And one of the major reasons why the explosion is going on is because of the words life insurance. Life insurance, I remember Neil Gerfine told me this, okay? He told me, said, life insurance is, this. When I came into business, they had smart loans. They were actually on their way out. They only saw one go through when I was literally coming into business. And he told me then, he said, listen, life insurance is always the bloodline of what we do. Life insurance is the cheeseburger. Investments is the French fries. They go hand in hand. You rarely go order just fries, and you rarely order just a burger. They go hand in hand. We buy, term, invest, the difference. Life insurance is the big dog. Okay. He said, because life insurance, he said, and then the other stuff like the investment, also that's the garnish on the plate. He said, because life insurance is not regulated by the market. He said, life insurance is recession proof. And now we know it's pandemic proof. Because whenever issues arise, what do people start to do? They start to say, do I have my shit together? Let me see if I got my shit together. You know what I mean? No matter what, life insurance is always going to thrive. And so you got people in Primerica looking at these scoreboards like, all these minorities done went crazy. Like, what the hell? If it ain't black, it's Hispanic. So what the hell is going on? Because what we do know how to do is sell life insurance. I mean, my phone been ringing off the hook. What are you guys doing over there? And I'm like, and then when I say you guys, not just, my team, they're talking about, like ALC, talking about these things. What is going on? And hey, Jada. And so it goes back to the old-fashioned, listen, life insurance ain't going nowhere. It's not. Understand that. Get into it. Learn it. Master it. Teach it. And you have a solid business. Do what you got to do to go RVP and produce RVPs. That's the name of the game. Do what you got to do to go RVP and then produce RVPs. When I say do what you got to do, you do what your uplines want you to do to go RVP and then produce RVPs. And I promise you, you build big as you can. I'm on a mission right now. When I talked to Hector Lamarck has 26 direct first generation RVPs, and look what he's built with that. You know what I asked him when you ask him what is one thing he wish he would have done different? You know what he says? He wish he had 50 direct. He wish he would have kept going till he had 50. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep going till I have 50. Okay. Listen, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or change the mold. I'm just trying to do what's been done and do it bigger and better. That's all. I'm not trying to be different. I'm trying to do more of the same so I can make more of the same money. Remember that. I know I've been longer than an hour. It's been, it's been real. I love to have good conversations when you catch me early in the morning, right? And I'll be getting ready to start, my meeting in a few minutes. But I love to be able to take time with people that I truly feel is going to listen. One thing I know about Warren and Jada's team is that you guys are hungry and you guys have the best teachers, the best people. I love spending time with them. Curtis and I love them. You should have seen his face light up last night when I said that I was going to do this morning. Like I said, he was like, I'm going to have to get up and he's still up there asleep. 10 minutes to 9, he's still up there asleep. When I said 7:30, he was like, oh, okay. Tell him I said hi. But I love you guys. And I'm grateful. I'm appreciative. I hope that I gave you a perspective today that you could really learn from and that you could take these the nuggets and things that I've given you, a look inside of Tonia Poe. I'm human like everybody else, but I just made some decisions, guys. I made some decisions, and I'm in the midst of making decisions right now. You know that it never stops. I'm in pursuit of greatness. You know, my team is the breadwinners. Our color is Kelly Green, and like I always said, I got to keep going until I get the green ring. That's 3 million. I gotta have. I have. What would I look like if I didn't have a green ring? And I'm the leader of the green machine. That don't make no sense. I gotta get that ring, right? So that's where I'm on. That's where I'm at. You know, 1 million is just a byproduct. 2 million is just a byproduct. I got to get that green ring. When they bury me, they're going to bury me with that green ring on my finger. I promise you that. Okay. So anyway, guys, I appreciate the time that you allowed me to spend with your team. I just appreciate you guys so much, and what you've done for the company and what you continue to do. And Curtis and I cannot wait to get out there. The first chance we get, we are there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, Tonia, I just wanted to say thank you. I was upstairs listening. We're doing the crab feast today, the crab feast that we're supposed to be at. And I was upstairs baking cupcakes. I was like, oh my gosh. Tell my buddy Curtis that I was hoping that I would get to see him today because he's my buddy. He's my hangout partner at the convention. But Tonia, you killed it. You absolutely killed it. There's no words for what you gave to our team. Thank you for taking time out your busy schedule. Thank you for being who you are, inspiring the lead agents, the supportive agents, everybody. You are a beast, and we love you guys so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Tonia, man. We really appreciate you. You one of the few, the speakers in the company, man, that I can listen to talk all day because you speak from the heart. There's nothing fake about it, and it's real. And it's sincere, and you can strap up, man. If you was a guy, you could have played football with me.
You know how many times I heard that? They be like, I'll get in the foxhole with you, girl. Let's go. Come on, let's hit that field. It must be true, because I'm telling you, I've always been like one of the guys. Always. Like, they're talking about anything in front of me, and I'm like, hey, I'm standing right here. You're one of us. I'm like, okay.
Yep, you can strap up with us any day, man. You are a fierce competitor. And you compete, and we have a saying in our team, Tonia, we compete to complete. When by you being such a competitor, you help other people complete. It's not about, you're not one of the people that win and say, I'll kick your hind parts, you ain't nothing, you bull crap. You make everyone rise around you. So you compete to complete. That's what you've always done. And I pray to God just continue to bless you and Curtis. Man, Curtis is my man. We are going to have you out as soon as this pandemic goes. We're going to have a big crowd feast. We're going to honor you guys. You know how I know how you guys like to get down. So we're going
to And we're going to hang out too.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we appreciate you, Tonia. Thank you so much for taking the time out, getting up at 7:30 in the morning, your time. And we're going to go do this together, man. So we're excited about it. And we owe you big time, man. Appreciate it. We love you, Tonia.
Thank you. Bye, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right, you do the same.